This week's episode is all about the business pieces of coaching. Whether you're a coach already or you're aspiring to be, or you're working in the wellness space, this week is for you. This will happen on the last episode of every month. And during this episode, we will get down and dirty with some amazing experts in the fields of business and coaching. And we will teach you all the pieces you need to build, grow, and scale a profitable practice. You won't want to miss a single show. Hailey Rowe is a marketing and sales strategist for online service providers who want to gain more clients online consistently, grow their business to full-time, and rock their sales without self-doubt. She shares her business, marketing, and mindset tips in her Health Coach Nation podcast and in the Health Coach Nation Facebook group. Since 2010, Hailey has worked in the coaching industry as well as in business development and marketing for several wellness companies and startups. She's also a certified behavioral change specialist and human potential coach. Hailey's philosophy: you can have an amazing service and impact to make, but without a strong mindset and a sales and marketing plan, your business will remain a hobby. To learn more about Hailey, go to haileyrowe.com or connect with her on Instagram at Hailey_Rowe. Let's welcome Hailey to the show. Hey, Hailey, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Yes, I am so excited for you to be here too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell me a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am a marketing and sales strategist for wellness professionals. So I work with a lot of health coaches. I work with some life coaches, and I help them book more clients online and get full-time income in their coaching business and overcome some of the time and mindset barriers that come up along the way when you are running your own online business. And I would say that it's really common for coaches to get their certification and feel really excited about starting their business, but sometimes the certifications don't go in depth into how do you actually run a business, and nor is that their job.
Right.
But that's something you definitely have to learn if you really want to get your own clients and be self-employed. So,
Yeah. I completely agree. And that's one of the reasons why I started, I do a certification program too. And because I came out of health coaching school with like, yay, I've got this new certificate. Now I'm ready to get clients. And then it was like crickets. It's like, okay, well, how do I get clients? So I love that you talk about this and that you teach on this. That's amazing.
That's right when the journey starts. You think
Right.
you're done and you're just going to start, woo,
Yep.
get clients. No, that's right when it starts to get tough. So
yes. So talk to me a little more about how you got here. Like, what is your background? Go a little more into your story.
Yeah, so I started about 10 years ago as in wellness, and I've always had a passion for it, and I've always had a passion for sales in general. My mom was a realtor, and just grew up with that environment. And so I sold fitness products. I did some wellness certifications. I was a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, all these different things. I realized I wanted to help people with behavioral change and actually implementing changes. And so I ended up doing a more like life coaching based program. And that really opened my eyes because I went to college, and in college I studied entrepreneurship. And so I've always had this like torn passion between business and wellness. And I wanted to figure out how can I combine the two. And I also found that I'm very practical and very strategic, and wellness coaching, while I was decent at it, I felt always I just loved business, and I would geek out on that kind of stuff. So I ended up after, I for a couple years in Los Angeles, I worked for wellness startups and was also on the side having my own wellness blog and whatnot. And one of the wellness startups that I worked for, it was amazing hands-on experience because I really learned I was on the marketing and business development team, but I was wearing a million hats. I was in HR, and then I would take a stab at developing standard operating procedures. And then I was doing, marketing. And so, reading their copy. And so it was a wonderful, fast-paced experience to learn about what does it really take to have your business. And eventually what happened, though, they were facing a lot of delays with getting certain approvals from the city because they were having a lot of cutting-edge wellness machines in one place, and yada, yada. It's a long story, but entire team was let go because they were facing some tough deadlines, past due. And so that was my point where I was like, well, what now? And I realized, well, I love wellness, I love business, and I wonder if I could combine the two. And I also found that a lot of wellness people naturally were coming to me and saying, well, how do you do this? Or how do I promote myself? And so I kind of went with the where I was being pulled, and from there started doing marketing and sales strategy coaching. And most recently, I would say that's been the past 3 years, pretty focused. And now, as of 2019, late 2019, I also have done for you marketing services. So in addition to actually helping you with the strategy, I can help you execute it. So that's why I love what I do, because I get to see the manifestation of it with my clients, and that's kind of my background.
Oh, I love that. And I find that so many things, I'm all about everything happens for a reason. So like the fact that you were losing your job, it was the universe's way of saying like, okay, this is what's next for you. So I love that you say that. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me, what is some mistakes that you see business owners and coaches making in the online space?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest mistakes that I see is that coaches, couple things. Number one, they think I'm just going to post, I'm going to put stuff out there, and people are naturally going to come to me. But the truth is, there's a whole well-oiled machine required to get people coming to you. And that includes things like getting more traffic and lead generation consistently of your ideal client. That is nurturing those leads either through your email marketing or connecting with them directly, or having a Facebook group where you're, constantly engaging with them and whatnot. I guess you don't have to engage with them constantly, but you know what I mean? There's the conversion process of actually inviting them to the next step with you, which is getting on a call or going to through your funnel or sales page, whatever. And so I think that a common mistake is that people think I posted a couple times and it's not working. And the truth is, it is working. It's planting seeds every day, but you also have to do the follow-up. You also have to, be attention grabbing in what you're doing, and be direct about what is the action you want them to take, and have calls to action and things like that. The other mistake that I think is common, I'm sure you've already talked about this on your show, it's kind of getting overkilled, is niche and narrowing down on a niche. So while a lot of coaches think I want to help everyone, and that's amazing, and I don't want to miss out on people by saying that I only serve a certain niche, that does not, I promise you that when you get specific on a niche, actually more people will come to you, more people will feel magnetically drawn to you because you're being direct about who you serve, and they respect you because you're being clear about something. Even though my audience is health coaches, life coaches, I still have clients who are, like, I just did a landing page for a construction worker company. I've worked with realtors. So it's not to say that they're not afraid to come to me, right? So I think the same thing applies to you as a health coach or a life coach. Pick some group that you feel really confident serving and that you are going to be direct in speaking to in your content. But just know you can always expand or evolve, and you're not going to miss out. You're actually going to, I think, attract people deeper.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like it's easier to brand yourself. It's easier to market everything when you know who you're talking to. So you're just not like throwing some stuff out there hoping it's going to stick. I'm talking to a specific person. I'm talking to a fertility person or hormones or whatever it is. It makes it a lot easier. So I love that you say
Absolutely.
that. And I completely agree too that you're building know, like, and trust. So just because you put a couple posts up and think nobody's watching, you have to continue to nurture those posts. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree with that.
I
100%.
think I agree with you there because I actually think one of the hardest things about entrepreneurship is staying in the game long enough, like realizing that that stuff takes time and not coming every day with the same amount of enthusiasm, even though you're planting these seeds and you maybe haven't seen them blossom yet.
Right. Yeah.
So that would be another huge thing is don't give up too early and obviously look at what you're doing and see is it working? Am I giving this a fair chance? Have I been doing it for have I been doing it for 3 months or whatever and it's not
Right.
working? But yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about ideal clients. So
Yeah.
how do you find your ideal client and how do you even decide what your niche is going to be? Do you have some tips for us on that?
Yes. So I have a free niche marketing training on my website. It's at haileyrowe.com. And maybe we can include that for your audience in the show notes. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's Hailey Rowe, ROWE.com. But what it takes you through is so you've probably, maybe your audience has heard of an elevator pitch. You want to come up with your unique elevator pitch. And that has to include, number one, who you serve, what do you help them with? So either struggles or goals you help them overcome that are specific and that are wanted by that audience. And then perhaps, obviously who you are, but also what kind of unique thing are you saving them from or like, preventing them having to go through. So for example, you could say something like, I'm a health coach for night shift nurses who want to stop indulging in unhealthy cravings, finally feel energized for their work and whatever else, one other benefit or something, without, for example, what's something that night shift workers wouldn't be able to do or would hate, without having to, I don't know, like without having to spend hours in the gym per day or without having to spend hours on meal prep or whatever it is. So that's just an example. So when it comes to getting clear on your niche, I would think about, number one, what are the goals or pain points I feel really confident in solving first? And then who needs that? What group of people would really want and find that relevant and be able to pay for it? So there's another thing you do need to think about, because in the past I worked with clients or even myself on my journey, there was a time where I was like, it'd be so cool if I could help young, high school seniors / college students who are transitioning and whatever, develop healthy habits when they're young. And while it was a great idea and I was excited about it, they don't care. They don't have anything at stake right now with their health or whatever, right? So while it was a novel concept, right, or this great idea, they don't want that, and nor would they're not going to pay for that probably, right? So you do have to consider that as well.
Yes, I completely agree. You have to think about, can they afford it and do they want it? For sure. So how important do you think it is to get adequate training and to get maybe a certification of some sort?
Yeah, so this is a popular question, and to me, it depends. I think when it comes to someone's body and when it comes to somebody's, health, I do think it's important to have some training and really look into that. But I also, from a marketing standpoint or from a business standpoint, I'll be the first one to tell you that unfortunately, the general public, they don't ask. I mean, I've never had, when I was a health coach, except for when I worked at a gym and in a wellness center, I've never had anybody ask or need me to have a certification. So
Mm-hmm.
my suggestion would be, don't get on the train of, I have to constantly be getting certifications, and you're like just on this like hopping journey from cert to cert because you think the next certification is going to be the thing that explodes your business.
Right.
My suggestion is, think about what will make you feel confident and competent to serve your clients. Take care of that, and then move on with your business. But also know that it's not going to be the make or break factor with people signing up for you. What is the make or break factor is, do you have a story? Have you been able to get yourself and or your clients really good results? And that's what people mainly care about.
Right. And I find sometimes we as coaches will jump from certification to certification because we're scared of putting ourselves out there. So this keeps us safe. We're still learning, so we don't have to really put ourselves out there. So I love that you say that. And I agree. I say, figure out what your ideal client needs. And if you need to get a little training on that, like for me, I work with fertility. I obviously need to know something about fertility, but
Right.
I also needed to jump and do my business instead of just keep on getting certified and certified. So I completely agree. So yeah, talk to me about automations. What are they for people who don't know, and are they important in your business?
Yeah. So I definitely think one thing I wish, there's a difference between being an employee in your own business and being a real entrepreneur. And I wish I would have gotten more automated in the beginning of my business because I didn't realize how freaking nice it is.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's a game changer.
Yeah. So my thoughts when it comes to automation, there's really, there's automation, and then there's also just outsourcing and building a team, right? So when it comes to things like planting seeds, nurturing your audience, you could automate that with things like your email funnel, or a bot on Facebook, or somebody doing lead generation for you with a message you've approved on LinkedIn, for example. So I do think those things are a good idea. I will say, if you're new and you can't afford that yet, or you're not ready, it is good to start out doing that stuff yourself, nurturing conversations, etc., because then you can learn what works. You can take that and make a system out of it. You could take it and record it and give it to somebody else to do for you. So I'm all for that. And then when it comes to like just in general, everything in your business can be made into a checklist or a routine or a process or a standard operating procedure, even though it feels sometimes excruciating for us because we're like, well, I could just do it myself.
Right.
It is better long term for your use of your time to develop those things and document them as you're doing them, so that eventually, and it's not going to start out perfect, you're going to build that over time, but eventually that's going to make a huge impact in how you can use your time and you can better serve your clients, and you're not exhausted because you're doing every single part of your business.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. In the beginning too, it's really important for you to do these things organically. One, you don't have the money to spend, but two, you need to know how to do them. You need to know how to nurture these leads and to reach out to them. And even in the beginning for me, I was sending like individual emails to people that I would get as a lead. But as you grow, like you said, it's important to start putting some systems in place, start maybe outsourcing some of your work. And the best thing that I did was hire a team when I was able to afford it. It's like so amazing. But starting small and kind of growing with your business. So yeah, that's super important.
I think it's really common for people to think, well, what am I risking when I get a team? Because I'm spending money, and are they going to know how to do it, and yada, yada. But I would think, what are you missing by not having a team? Because you're spending all this time and effort and not getting the biggest ROI you can because you're just one person. So that's something to think about. And the typical progression, like you said, is like a lot of my clients start out in my Zero to Hero coach program, and we coach them through learning how to do these things. And then later they can take it, and they are a good judge of if somebody's doing a good job because they learn to do it themselves. So I totally agree with you about learning it yourself first. So you can at least you don't have to be the master at it, but you at least have a general idea of can I judge if my teammate is performing well?
Right, exactly. And I found too that when you do know how to do it yourself, when a teammate leaves or like you need to fix something, that person's not available, you need to know how to do that. And so knowing it in the beginning makes it a lot easier to do that. So you don't have the case where that teammate leaves and then you're like, oh no, I don't know how to fix that funnel. I don't know how to do that email sequence. So yeah, definitely learning it up front and then delegating if you feel it's necessary.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's one thing that you wish you had known before you started in your journey?
Ooh, one thing I wish I would have known before starting my journey. I would say that you have to set your expectations properly. And, I think I would actually, what I would say is every single thing can be turned into an opportunity or a learning experience. So, for example, I've had bad investments in my business. I've had, what I would label as, that wasn't a great hire or service provider that I brought on, things like that. And I actually think that as long as you learn from those experiences and you actually learn more from the bad things than when everything's going hunky-dory. So what I would have told myself is just know that all of it is an opportunity to learn and can be turned into a win if you pay attention to how that can be happening. And the other thing I would say is milk every opportunity and don't just see the only win as transactions, because I'll give you an example. It's a lot of people need to know that you're going to have no's, you're going to have a conversion rate that's not 100%. Okay. Right. So you need to be ready to face rejection. You need to be able to separate your personal identity and how you feel on any certain day from your business roles and tasks and things like that. And so, because the truth is, everything can be, like, I've had people say no, but they refer somebody because it's just not for them or they can't afford it or whatever. I've had podcast interviews that sit out for 1.5 years and then somebody signs up from coaching because they heard this podcast. So I think you have to just pay attention to, there's more than one form of currency in your business. There's relationships, there's networking opportunities, there's testimonials, there's, it doesn't always have to be, did they sign up for coaching?
Right. Yes, I completely agree. I've had the same thing happen to me, where I've done a podcast and then 6 months later, somebody calls me and says, I heard you on that podcast, and then signs up for coaching. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in the beginning, and even now, I'm almost 3.5 years into my business. I try to rarely say no. Like if somebody presents me with an opportunity, I'm going to take it, whether I think it's going to result in a client or not, because it's all going to put me out there and get me that know, like, and trust that I'm waiting or that I'm wanting. So I think never say no if you can. Take all opportunities that come your way.
It gets you well practiced too. Like
exactly.
It always keeps you in the zone or in momentum.
Exactly. So talk to me about Health Coach Nation. I love your Facebook group. I love your podcast. So tell us about that.
Thank you. Yeah, so the Health Coach Nation Facebook group is a community where we share business growth tips, marketing tips, time management tips, etc., for coaches and online business owners. And I have a podcast that goes with that, and it's on iTunes, Spotify, all the different things, where I interview either coaches who've been really successful or experts in certain categories having to do with business who come on and share tips. So I would love to invite everybody to check out the show and to the free Facebook group. You can go to facebook.com/groups/Health Coach Nation. It's pretty easy to find, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes, I agree. So I think everybody needs to check it out because it's a lot of fun in there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us about your programs. If somebody wants to look into working with you one-on-one, what does that look like?
Yeah, my core program is called the Zero to Hero Coach Program. And basically what I teach, or the framework that I use, is I always say, let's grow your business the fast way, FAST. And what that stands for is followers. So we talk about how do you grow your traffic and of potential clients and your pipeline of people who want to work with you and get more discovery calls. So I give you templates and strategies and ways to do that. We talk about action, which is how do you create content that's compelling enough and relevant enough and urgent enough for your audience to take action, whether that's signing up for your lead magnet or joining your program. We talk about sales, which is obviously how do you feel confident with discovery calls? How do you package your offers, upsells, downsells? What's the price? And how do you coach through objections on your discovery calls without feeling salesy or icky? And then we have time and transformation, which is what the T stands for. So time is time management. What should you prioritize? I work with a lot of busy moms. I work with a lot of people who are trying to transition into health coaching, and so they have full-time jobs. So we have to get really clear about what to prioritize. And then transformation is obviously two things. One, the transformation that you go through as an entrepreneur. So we do have to do some mindset coaching around sometimes imposter syndrome, or I don't feel confident on video, or I feel like I'm overpricing or whatever. And then transformation for your clients. So what is that key thing that's going to make you stand out? What's your own method you're going to have with your clients, and making sure you're getting good social proof from your clients. So, so that's kind of how it works. And if anybody's interested or wants to hear more about it, I do have customized programs as well. They can go to HaileyRowe.com, and on there's a goals form they can fill out if they want to schedule a free call with myself or my team to learn a little bit more.
I love it. Oh, such great information. And so tell us too, where can everybody find you? You said your website, but are you on social, obviously?
I'm everywhere. HaileyRowe.com and Instagram /Hailey_Rowe. My name has a I in it, and it's L-E-Y. So that's the Hailey spelling. But anyways, I'm also on in the Facebook group Health Coach Nation, and Facebook.com/official Hailey Rowe. So you can find me, and I hope to connect with all of you.
Yes. Wonderful. So before we close, any final thoughts?
My final thoughts would be that the main thing is to plant seeds every day, and don't be discouraged. If you can stably stay attached to your vision and who you want to help and the impact you want to make, you're going to be in good shape.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hailey. You're such a world of information, and I always love talking to you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye, guys. See you next time. Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at CoachKayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant, not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. Make sure you take advantage of that. And I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.